Part 2. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Your girlfriend is here to find you. Yang Zizi is a very stubborn girl. She will not give up until the boy she likes catches her. Since Lun Zhenqi is not willing to hire her, he can put his resume on the official website of Lun Zhenqi Company. That night, Yang Zizi entered the company's official website. Fortunately, your company is recruiting part-time workers, and the attendance rate only needs to reach 2 per week. It just took a few days, and he happened to have time every weekend. Yang Zizi immediately made a beautiful resume and wrote down all his great achievements without leaving any room. Within an hour, Yang Zizi received an interview invitation from the company. The next morning, Yang Zizi was dressed very formally. Since he was one of the top companies in the world, he naturally paid special attention to his image. The interview on this day was quite lucky. Maybe the interviewer took a fancy to Yang Zizi's experience. But the experiences are all made up, because none of the original owner's experiences are reliable. After the 3 rounds of interviews, Yang Zizi was hired immediately and told that the official start-up process would be the next weekend. Yang Zizi was so happy that he could not wait to run to Lun Zhenqi and scream. However, it would be better to give him a surprise. Lun Zhenqi has only 1 class a week at school, which is on Monday every week. The male students were in tears on Monday, while the female students were screaming with excitement as if they had been given blood. On Monday, except for the time during class when Yang Zizi could see Lun Zhenqi, Yang Zizi could only chat with Lun Zhenqi for a short time before driving back to the company after class. There is very little time spent in school and in the prosperous world. Fortunately, Yang Zizi and Lun Zhenqi will be working in the same company over the weekend. On his first day of employment, Yang Zizi wore a suit and leather shoes, with a confident smile on his face. When he came to the front desk, the lady at the front desk had a deep impression of him. She immediately recognized Yang Zizi as the girl who claimed to be the CEO's girlfriend last time. Hearing that the other party was here to join the company, he didn't dare to waste time, so he immediately took Yang Zizi to the Human Resources Department to go through the entry procedures. After a series of procedures, Yang Zizi was taken to the Operations Department by the Personnel Department, and was told that a senior boss would come to take her after a while. Yang Zizi waited for a long time and didn't know what to do. He looked around and saw that everyone was working hard. He had no time to chat with her, and then he started playing cards on the computer in all kinds of boredom. In the end, he couldn't play anymore. But the senior boss who took her still didn't show up. Forget it, he should go to the toilet first. He thought so, but his honest thoughts brought him to the 18th floor. Yang Zizi arrived at the 18th floor and found that the door was locked and he couldn't get in at all. And the lock he broke last time has been replaced. It wouldn't be good to break it again. Thinking about it, Yang Zizi retracted his hand. Sitting on the sofa reading a book, Bai Zhisha spotted Yang Zizi acting like a thief. Bai Zhisha glanced at Lun Zhenqi and shook his head. How did you become this boyfriend? Bai Zhisha put down the book in his hand and strode out the door. When he opened the door, Yang Zizi was frightened. When he saw Bai Zhisha, he giggled awkwardly. Come in, Zizi, this is such a prosperous time, I don't know how to record face recognition for you, I'll record it for you later, Bai Zhisha said as he led Yang Zizi into the office. Lun Zhenqi, your girlfriend is here to see you, Bai Zhisha said with a smile. After bringing Yang Zizi to Lun Zhenqi, he picked up the book and started reading again. Lun Zhenqi looked up and frowned. Why are you here again? Lun Zhenqi was also helpless. Are all children nowadays so clingy? Yang Zizi smiled and pointed to the work badge around his neck. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 12. Chapter 12. The Protector of Men. Lun Zhenqi glanced at the job card indifferently, without making any reaction, and said to Bai's Hishu, who was secretly observing the situation, "Take her to apply for resignation." "I'm not going." Yang Zizi protected his job badge and refused to leave his job no matter what. This is his first job. It is hard one and of great significance. It is absolutely impossible for him to leave. Bai's Hishu came over to see the good show, ignored Lun Chenchi, picked up Yang Zizi's work badge and took a look at it. He felt that Lun Chenchi was very picky, and couldn't help complaining, "Operations department, brother, you are too come on, let's find a manager position for your girlfriend." "I work part-time." Yang Zizi rolled his eyes at him, and the male guardian madman came online. Oh, Bai's Hishu nodded knowingly. Lun Chenchi raised his head and looked at Bai's Hishu. He really wanted to kick him out. He was doing nothing and going to his place every day to eat and drink. He was quite old and was a bachelor, but he still came to take care of his affairs. "You take her to leave her job, and I'll pay for her meals for a year." Lun Chenchi wanted to agree readily, but after thinking about it, he felt that it was not worth it. He was a man who was short of food money at the beginning of Bai's Hishu. "That's not okay, I can't do this kind of thing." Bai's Hishu's innocent face made Lun Chenchi want to beat him. Just as Yang Zizi was about to speak to express his attitude, the phone rang. It was the head of the operations department calling. "Perhaps the whole company is looking for her. I'm going to work first, I'll come back to you when I get off work." After Yang Zizi said that, he picked up the phone and ran out. Bai's Hishu laughed loudly and imitated Yang Zizi's tone to show off to Lun Chenchi, "I'll come back to you after I get off work." Get out. Lun Chenchi had a headache. How could he have such a brother? "Young man, don't be so impatient. In fact, I think Yang Zizi is quite good. He is good looking, simple, and quite cute. But don't let down the person in front of you," Bai's Hishu said with a smile and left the office. When Bai's Hishu came to the operations department, he was particularly concerned about his future younger siblings. Yang Zizi was assigned to the second team of the operations department, and the team leader was teaching him the most basic work procedures. Bai's Hishu walked over and patted the team leader. When the team leader saw Bai's Hishu, he instantly respected him. Bai's Hishu indicated that he could go and do other things, and then he sat next to Yang Zizi. "Bai's Hishu," Yang Zizi was a little surprised. "How did you come?" "I think it would be better for you to work part-time as Lun Chenchi's assistant." Bai's Hishu touched his chin and seemed to have thought about it for a long time before finally making a decision. "Will you help me?" Yang Zizi asked. Judging from Bai's Hishu's tone, he should wish her a helping hand. "Of course, we will be brothers from now on. It is necessary to help each other." Bai's Hishu put his arm around Yang Zizi's shoulders from behind and said loyally. "Good brother, I'll leave my affairs to you." Yang Zizi patted Bai's Hishu's shoulder like a brother and said, "Please." "No problem, I'll leave it to my brother." Bai's Hishu patted his chest and said obligingly. The two continued to chat for an hour, all about Lun Chenchi, and the topic never left Lun Chenchi. On the first day of his part-time job, Yang Zizi did nothing and was dragged around the company by Bai's Hishu, from the first floor to the 18th floor, showing off their brotherhood everywhere. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 13. Chapter 13 Dilemma. Yang Zizi's buttocks were still hot on Sunday when he was told by his supervisor that he was changing departments. She looked confused and asked about her new position. The supervisor told him that it was the 18th floor. Yang Zizi understood instantly, picked up the bag and ran to the 18th floor. Unexpectedly, Bai's Hishu could do things so efficiently. When she arrived on the 18th floor, she found that the door was locked and she couldn't get in at all. Just when she was about to call Bai's Hishu, the voice of the intelligent robot rang, Identification, CEO's girlfriend, please come in. Then, the door slowly opened in front of him. As soon as Bai's Hishu left, he told him about the situation after the modification of Yang Zizi's contract. Not only did he change his position to assistant to the president without authorization, he even changed the termination clause to compensate all Lun Zhenqi's net worth to the other party. If it weren't for Bai's Hishu's long legs and his fast running speed, he might be on his way to the underworld now. Yang Zizi stood a few meters away from Lun Zhenqi, refusing to get close. Lun Zhenqi glanced at her indifferently and said indifferently, "Make me a cup of coffee." Yang Zizi was extremely excited. Doesn't this mean that Lun Zhenqi allowed her to be his assistant by default? In order to show his active working side, Yang Zizi quickly ran to make coffee for Lun Zhenqi. Yang Zizi happily held the brewed coffee and placed it in front of Lun Zhenqi. Lun Zhenqi took a sip. Yang Zizi stared at it eagerly, and couldn't help but sigh. Good-looking people look good in every gesture, and it becomes a scenery. It's too hard, do it again. No, I put a lot of sugar. Yang Zizi didn't believe it, so he took a bite and found that it was indeed a bit bitter. Lun Zhenqi glanced at Yang Zizi with interest. This woman liked him so much that she even drank the coffee he had. Yang Zizi turned around to make a new cup. Lun Zhenqi thought it was too sweet, so Yang Zizi could only drink it down. On the third cup, Lun Zhenqi was still not satisfied, so Yang Zizi drank again. The fourth cup, the fifth cup, Lun Zhenqi always had a reason for him to drink it willingly and make another cup. At the sixth cup, Lun Zhenqi finally reluctantly accepted the taste. Yang Zizi is in high spirits at the moment. It's hard being my assistant, are you sure? Before Lun Zhenqi finished speaking, Yang Zizi slapped the table and said, I'm sure that since I already like you, I can't give up halfway. Lun Zhenqi raised the corners of his mouth and smiled lightly, unmoved. Lun Zhenqi glanced at the floor-standing air conditioner in the corner and said, move the air conditioner out, and someone will send a new one to install it later. Yang Zizi thought, isn't this making things difficult for her? He is just a weak woman. Yang Zizi suddenly thought that a powerful force had been injected into his body recently. Although I don't know where it comes from, it can be good to act cool in front of the male idol. Yang Zizi took out the floor-standing air conditioner without saying a word. Don't tell me, it's quite light. Lun Zhenqi looked at Yang Zizi and didn't seem to have any doubts about Yang Zizi's powerful power. At night, Yang Zizi lay on the bed, tossing and turning. He drank 5 cups of coffee today, and it was strange that he could sleep at all. Yang Zizi was really irritated as he tossed and turned, so he simply sat up and picked up his phone to search for the name Lun Zhenqi. She is indeed a monster, and her influence on the internet is so intense. The #1 hot search on Weibo is also a photo of Lun Zhenqi taken at the company. Tonight, Yang Zizi once again refreshed his understanding of the prosperous world. He can actually achieve 0 scandals. None of the current superstars can achieve 0 scandals. Lun Zhenqi actually did it. It is conceivable that he has never had much contact with girls. Yang Zizi couldn't help but feel happy. The first class on Monday is Yang Zizi's favorite class, but she is not in her position. The class bell rang, but Yang Zizi's seat was still empty. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 14. Chapter 14 Under the Podium. Lun Zhenqi walked into the classroom with a textbook. The first thing he habitually looked at was Yang Zizi's seat. Seeing the empty seats, Lun Zhenqi's eyes flashed with surprise. This woman even dared to skip his classes. Squad leader, roll call. Lun Zhenqi threw the textbook on the podium with a bang. The squad leader stood up and began to call the roll call. Yang Zizi's name was called by the third person. Yang Zizi. No one answered. Just when Lun Zhenqi was about to speak, his calf was suddenly slipped by something, which made him tremble with the itch. He lowered his head and saw Yang Zizi sitting cross-legged under the podium, looking at him with a smile on his face, and waving to him good morning. Lun Zhenqi glanced at the squad leader and said, "Continue," motioning for him to continue the roll call. Lun Zhenqi pretended that his shoelaces were untied and squatted down to tie them. "I heard from Bai's Hishu that you rushed to the company for a morning meeting this morning, and rushed to school without having time to have breakfast, so I brought one for you." Yang Zizi worked like magic. He took out a few steamed buns and a bottle of pure milk from behind. "Bai's Hishu has such a big mouth. Credit deducted." "Okay." Yang Zizi looked at him with a smile, not hearing what he said at all. 10 points will be deducted." "What?" Yang Zizi heard clearly this time, but pretended not to hear. Lun Zhenqi opened his mouth impatiently and was about to repeat it again. Yang Zizi took the opportunity to stuff the bun into Lun Zhenqi's mouth. Lun Zhenqi looked at Yang Zizi coldly, with a sharp look in his eyes. Lun Zhenqi's current status is that of a professor. He wants to set an example for the flowers of the motherland, so naturally he will not spit it out. Lun Zhenqi had no choice but to squat under the podium and eat a steamed bun. Yang Zizi sat cross-legged and watched quietly as he finished the buns. Lun Zhenqi glanced at the smiling Yang Zizi and didn't know what to do with him. "Listen carefully." Lun Zhenqi dropped these words and stood up as if tying his shoelaces. The anxious eyes of his classmates suddenly became strange. The female classmates all looked at him affectionately, but now even the male classmates looked at him with strange eyes. He didn't care and started his lecture. Lun Zhenqi would lower his eyes at Yang Zizi from time to time to observe his condition. Suddenly, he found that Yang Zizi had nothing in his hands, not even a book. What's the use of just hearing with two ears? Lun Zhenqi threw a book down while his classmates were not paying attention. Yang Zizi looked at the book thrown at his feet and looked at him in confusion. Lun Zhenqi ignored him again. Yang Zizi was extremely bored and flipped through Lun Zhenqi's book. His surname was written on the cover. As expected, his words are just like the person he writes, and the words he writes are also beautiful. Yang Zizi opened Lun Zhenqi's book page by page. It was full of lecture notes, which were neat and clear. Lun Zhenqi's next class was physical education. In the past, the students would never leave the classroom without Lun Zhenqi, but this time, Lun Zhenqi personally sent them to the playground. "Come out." Yang Zizi got out from under the podium obediently when he heard Lun Zhenqi's voice. Yang Zizi suddenly kept looking at the corner of Lun Zhenqi's mouth. Lun Zhenqi was stunned. What is he going to do? Yang Zizi suddenly stood up on tiptoes and quickly kissed the corner of Lun Zhenqi's mouth. Lun Zhenqi's anger steamed up and he pushed Yang Zizi onto the blackboard. His eyes were full of unspoken anger, even mixed with some indescribable complex emotions. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 15. Chapter 15, Carrying it to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Yang Zizi looked at him with wide eyes, not daring to move. Lun Zhenqi slowly came towards her, and Yang Zizi closed his eyes tightly. No, he probably wanted to kiss her. Yang Zizi was both nervous and looking forward to it. This was the first time he kissed a boy on his own initiative, and was even kissed by a boy on his own initiative. When Yang Zizi was looking forward to it, Lun Zhenqi's magnetic voice suddenly sounded in his ears, "Woman. I am in danger." There was a warning in Lun Zhenqi's words, and there was even an unspeakable sense of fear. But Yang Zizi had no feeling at all. Looking at Lun Zhenqi's leaving figure, he must be angry, but his angry expression was not captured. Yang Zizi was very troubled by this. When Yang Zizi was about to go to the playground, he saw Gu Xingxing angrily rushing to him in high heels, raising his hand to use force. Yang Zizi easily intercepted her hand in mid-air. Gu Xingxing's expression began to turn painful, and she felt the severe pain in her wrist that was about to break. "Don't mess with me, you can't afford to mess with me." Yang Zizi threw her away. "Yang Zizi, Lun Shengxi is mine, what qualifications do you have to fight with me? Gu Xingxing shouted angrily. Lun Shengxi? The two of them knew each other. Yang Zizi suddenly remembered the last time he saw Gu Xingxing dating her boyfriend. When he thought about it, her boyfriend's back was really similar to Lun Shengxi's. Maybe her boyfriend is Lun Shengxi. Yang Zizi quickly rejected the idea in his mind. How could this be possible? He didn't believe that people in the prosperous times would have such narrow vision. It must be wishful thinking on Gu Xingxing's part. I'm sorry, this lady from Lun Shengxi Eternal Life has already made reservations. You. Yang Zizi ignored him and walked around her towards the playground. After the physical education class, Yang Zizi had no classes for the day. When she was about to go back to the dormitory, a limited edition sports car suddenly stopped beside her. A gust of wind blew by, and Yang Zizi was roughly thrown into the passenger seat. What happened just now? Now I just feel my head is buzzing. It took Yang Zizi a while to react and asked, where are we going? Civil Affairs Bureau. Lun Shengxi's tone did not contain the slightest warmth. Civil Affairs Bureau? Did he hear it correctly? Why are you going to the Civil Affairs Bureau? Yang Zizi asked a question that even he felt was stupid. Lun Shengxi still answered her patiently, get the certificate. With me, Yang Zizi pointed to himself cautiously. Lun Shengxi glanced at him indifferently. If she continued to ask, he would doubt his IQ. Yang Zizi was excited. Did he turn into a koi in seconds today? Then do you like me? Yang Zizi asked bluntly. I don't like it, Lun Shengxi blurted out without hesitation. If you don't like it, why should you get a certificate from me? It's a responsibility. Responsibility? Yang Zizi was a little confused. Apart from the teacher-student relationship and the superior-subordinate relationship, they seem to have no other relationship. Where does the responsibility come from? No matter how many things there are, just get the certificate first and the rest will be easier. He didn't believe it anymore. Lun Shengxi had already taken the initiative to get the certificate from him. For such a big thing, he didn't believe that he wasn't attracted to him. After all, men's mouths are deceptive. There were not many people getting the certificates today, and they got them quickly. Yang Zizi asked him in confusion how he got his household registration book. She half jokingly and half seriously said two words, stolen. She actually married a thief and not only stole his heart, she also stole his household registration book. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 16. Chapter 16 Elusive. Lun Shengxi gave Yang Zizi the key to her new house, which is located near the school. Lun Shengxi knew Yang Zizi's straightforward nature and specifically asked him not to tell anyone about the two of them receiving certificates. Yang Zizi thought for a while and nodded in agreement. After all, Lun Shengxi is also a leader in various fields. If he publishes his private life, it will definitely cause quite a sensation, and the consequences are unimaginable. Lun Shengxi would come home on time every day. Although neither of them knew how to cook, Lun Shengxi would bring her favorite dishes back on time every day. Yang Zizi frequently asked Lun Shengxi if he liked him, and Lun Shengxi's answer was always that he didn't. Yang Zizi curled her lips and didn't believe him at all. If he didn't like her, why did he marry her and why did he treat him so well? He was the first one to appear in front of her when she was in danger. They are strangers, why would he be nice to him for no reason? This is not what love is. In order to hide from others, Yang Zizi would go home on weekends and occasionally walk around the dormitory to look familiar. You can show your face wherever you go, and you won't be subject to random speculation. In the middle of the night, Yang Zizi got up from the bed and was about to go to the toilet. Suddenly he noticed a beam of light flashing in the living room. Although it was only the blink of an eye, Yang Zizi could see it clearly. Gradually, following the moonlight outside the glass window, Yang Zizi saw clearly a figure sitting on the sofa, sitting upright and motionless. Yang Zizi recognized the owner of the silhouette at a glance, and she would never forget it in her life. It's also strange. Why is he sitting on the sofa without sleeping in the middle of the night? Husband, Yang Zizi shouted in what he thought was the gentlest voice. Lun Chenchi looked up at her, with a strange look in his eyes, plus an imperceptible panic. Why don't you sleep? Yang Zizi asked sitting next to him. I don't know if it was a problem with the moonlight or if it was too dark in the living room. Lun Chenchi looked extremely white at the moment, white enough to shine, but still charming and dazzling. Not sleepy, Lun Chenchi answered Yang Zizi calmly and briefly. For 500 years, I have been interspersed in the human world, but I still haven't integrated into it. Are you insomniac? No. Then why can't you fall asleep? Otherwise, I'll count sheep for you. Counting sheep can hypnotize you. Lun Chenchi's face looked a little impatient. Hypnosis. He can do it by himself, but he still needs help from others. Yang Zizi felt dizzy and fell asleep as soon as his eyesight went dark. In the morning, Yang Zizi ate the breakfast that Lun Chenchi bought early in the morning. He was very puzzled, why he had never seen Lun Chenchi eating. Aren't you going to eat? Yang Zizi asked. Don't eat, was the same answer in the same tone. Ever since the last time he ate the steamed buns forced on him by Yang Zizi, he had been feeling uncomfortable for a whole day. It's not a good habit to skip breakfast. Yang Zizi peeled the egg and put it to his mouth to indicate for him to eat. He shunned and refused to eat. Ah, eat an egg, Yang Zizi coaxed him. Lun Chenchi grabbed his wrist, obviously impatient with him. Yang Zizi was terribly wronged. Lun Chenchi realized that he was a little rude, so he let go of her hand and said coldly, I bought this for you. Then you can't patronize me and ignore yourself, Yang Zizi said and insisted on feeding Lun Chenchi. Lun Chenchi was extremely impatient and slapped Yang Zizi's hand away with a hint of anger. You are really disgusting when you do this. Yang Zizi looked at Lun Chenchi striding away, and she was stunned. What did he just say? He said she was disgusting. No matter what, she couldn't understand this man. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 17. Chapter 17. Drink my blood. Just this sentence, just a few words, was enough to pierce his heart like a double-edged sword. During class, Yang Zizi overheard his classmates discussing the prosperous times. Guess who I just saw when I went to the professor's building? Looking at the girl's excited look, the other party could probably guess something. Could it be Professor Lun? That's right, it's Professor Lun. The girl excitedly pulled her classmates to go to the professor's office building, but was stopped. It turned out that they had just been kicked out, and no one dared to go. Yang Zizi disagreed and strode towards the professor's office building, ignoring the gazes of his classmates. Yang Zizi is still very familiar with Lun Chenchi's office. She pushed the door open and saw that the other person was staring at the computer, pressing his temple with one hand, as if he had encountered some problem. Lun Chenchi just raised his eyelids slightly and gave him a perfunctory look. When he sees the prosperous Yang Zizi, he always has a big smile on his face. In his opinion, the air around him is sweet. Don't you like eggs? Yang Zizi pulled out the chair across from him and sat down. He held his chin with his hands and looked at him lovingly. The smile on his face never disappeared for a moment. The prosperous age of Lun seems to grow on Yang Zizi's smile. Lun Chenchi ignored her for a long time. Then what do you like to eat? I'll learn to cook it for you next time. Yang Zizi looked at him closely. What if I say I like drinking blood? Lun Chenchi raised his eyebrows and said to him half seriously. Shock flashed across Yang Zizi's face, and then he rolled up his sleeves with a serious look, put his arm in front of Lun Chenchi, and said generously, "Drink my blood, it's very fresh." Perhaps this is the way to love someone, knowing that he is joking, but he still likes to give sincerely and without hesitation. Lun Chenchi looked at Yang Zizi's white and tender arms. The blood in them must be pure and fresh, and a desire suddenly emerged in his heart. Damn it, how could he have a desire for human blood? He has not drunk a drop of human blood for hundreds of years because he firmly believes that he is the same as ordinary humans, but his physique is different. Lun Chenchi tried his best to restrain his urge to pounce. He turned around in an instant, and disappeared before his eyes in less than a blink of an eye. He stood by the floor-to-ceiling window with his back to him, staring out the window. Yang Zizi walked over, his feet slipped, and something hit his feet. Yang Zizi pounced forward, and it happened that Lun Chenchi turned around at this moment. Yang Zizi thought that Lun Chenchi would catch him, so he let himself fall to the ground with confidence and boldness, and finally had a perfect look at each other. Unfortunately, the pain of his bones hitting the floor was quickly felt. Not only did Lun Chenchi not catch her, he deliberately took a step back to prevent her from hitting him. Yang Zizi lay on the ground, looking up at Lun Chenchi in disbelief, with words written all over his face, "Why didn't you catch me?" Lun Chenchi looked indifferent. "Isn't it your responsibility to protect me? Why didn't you catch me when I fell?" Yang Zizi asked him angrily. Is this what he should do as a subject? Anything that does not involve life is not within the scope of protection. Lun Chenchi looked at him condescendingly and said coldly. Then it's possible that his life may be in danger if he falls. Who instilled this devilish logic into him? Not so much. Yang Zizi was speechless. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 18. Chapter 18 Just Protection. The recent prosperity of life has always been hot and cold to him, which makes Yang Zizi's heart go up and down along with it. Lun Chenchi turned around to leave, and Yang Zizi said loudly, "Lun Chenchi, apart from responsibility, do you have any other mood to protect me?" Yang Zizi always asked him bluntly if he liked her, and Lun Chenchi's answers were always the same. Yang Zizi wanted to ask him in a different way to see if he could get any comfort from it. "It's just protection," Lun Chenchi said these 4 words calmly. "Can't you just like me?" Yang Zizi came up to him and stared at him closely. At this moment, Yang Zizi felt so humble. She, who had thought she was conceited since she was a child, actually bowed her head willingly in front of the person she liked. Lun Chenchi glanced at him and left without caring. During class, Yang Zizi overheard the gossip of his classmates, saying that it was rare to see Lun Chenchi in the office. She was shocked. Lun Chenchi is actually in the office. She ran to the office building without much thought. Very few people knew that Lun Chenchi had an office in the school. From beginning to end, he would go to the company as soon as he finished class and would not stay in school for a second. Yang Zizi also spent a lot of effort to find out the location of Lun Chenchi's office. She saw Lun Chenchi, who was working seriously through the transparent glass. Yang Zizi smiled like an idiot and pushed the door open quietly. Lun Chenchi raised his eyelids calmly, glanced at him, and continued working with his head down. The light of Lun Chenchi was suddenly blocked by a large shopping bag. "You don't like milk bread, so I bought these for you," Yang Zizi said and started to rummage through the bag, taking out the contents while introducing, "This is chocolate and cheese sticks, yogurt and the like." In an instant, Lun Chenchi's desk was filled with all kinds of snacks, and it could be called a convenience store. Lun Chenchi frowned and had a headache. "Isn't there anything you like?" Lun Chenchi asked, looking like she was not as happy as she imagined. Silence. "Then whatever you like, I'll buy it for you." Lun Chenchi raised his head slightly, squinted his deep eyes, and looked at him deeply. "I don't like anything from you humans." Yang Zizi looked confused. Lun Zhenji seemed a little impatient and took out 2 tickets from the drawer, trying to send her away. I have 2 tickets here. As soon as he took them out, Yang Zizi snatched them away. It is a BGB concert ticket. However, how did he know that she liked the boy band BGB? Yang Zizi took the ticket and seemed to have other plans. He sat across from him, holding his chin with one hand, and looked at him affectionately. Watching their concert is better than watching you. 2 tickets still couldn't get her to go. It's time for class, Lun Zhenji reminded. I have no class today. I'm very busy today and don't have time to play with you, Lun Zhenji said coldly. Yang Zizi was helpless, thinking that he still had things to do, so he left voluntarily. I'll go sell these 2 tickets and then I can buy you what you like to eat. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. Get him done tonight. It was almost time for get out of class to end, and Yang Zizi was waiting at the school gate to prepare for this mini auction. Unexpectedly, I met Bai's Hishu. Bai's Hishu, why are you here? I'm here to find Lun Zhenji. This guy hasn't been in the company these days, so it's easy for me to find him. Then I found out that it was class time. What was she doing standing at the school gate? Could it be that she was working part-time as a security guard? Why are you standing at the school gate? You must be here to greet me, Bai's Hishu joked with a smile. I'm going to sell these 2 tickets to buy some delicious food for Lun Zhenji. Hey, do you know what Lun Zhenji likes to eat? Bai's Hishu tried hard to recall, but he couldn't remember what Lun Zhenji liked to eat. They had known each other for almost 5 or 6 years. Lun Zhenji had never had a meal with him, and he had never seen Lun Zhenji have a meal. Have no idea. Bai's Hishu, who had thought about it for a long time, gave Yang Zizi this answer. Disappointment. Hey, you two seem to be in a good relationship recently. You can give birth to a baby for me to play with. Yang Zizi couldn't help but roll her eyes. She thought she didn't have enough fun in a few years, so she gave it to Bai's Hishu to play with. If you feel lonely, I advise you to find a partner quickly. You are no longer young. Why are you urging me to get married? Is it possible that the prosperous times also urged you? Yang Zizi asked. He really couldn't imagine what it would be like to urge others to get married in the prosperous times. No, my parents, Bai's Hishu said, hating iron for not being able to turn into steel. Bai's Hishu really didn't want to talk about his lifelong events, so he changed the topic to Lun Zhenji. While you all have time these days, hurry up and get him done tonight. Bai's Hishu said hurriedly, as if he was the person involved. Yang Zizi doesn't want to, it's mainly because he doesn't cooperate. Seeing Yang Zizi's face in embarrassment and not knowing what to do, Bai's Hishu came up with an idea to help her and told Yang Zizi what to do. The 2 Gu brothers happened to come over at this time. When they saw a strange man doing intimate things with his sister, they suddenly became furious and rushed forward to pull Chu Chu away from her. You brat, what do you want to do? Gu Zhaozhao pointed at Bai's Hishu and said rudely. Bai's Hishu's temper was rising. Just when he was about to use violence to subdue Gu Zhaozhao, Yang Zizi, who was protected by Gu Zixi, ran out quickly and said, misunderstandings are all misunderstandings, and we are all friends. What a friend, this kid has evil intentions, he wants to kiss you. Bai's Hishu is really a dumb man who eats Coptis chinensis and cannot express the pain. No, it's a whisper. Do you understand the whisper? Yang Zizi also found it strange that her 2 brothers, who usually ignored him and were even occasionally aggressive towards him, suddenly cared about her so much. Whisper, what whisper? Gu Zhaozhao broke the casserole and asked. Bai's Hishu curled his lips evilly and slowly approached Gu Zhaozhao. Gu Zhaozhao was so frightened that he hurriedly hid back. Don't you want to listen? Come here. Forget it, Gu Zhao waved his hands with a look of disgust. Looking serious, unexpectedly she turned out to be a sissy. Bai Zhishu instantly looked at Gu Zhao with serious contempt, patted Yang Zizi on the shoulder, gave him a good luck look, and went to the office to find Lun Zhenqi. End of this chapter. The fake daughter can be either salty or sweet. Author, Wu Zizai. Chapter 20. Chapter 20 Brother, I can't get up. Yang Zizi returned home early without telling Lun Zhenqi and prepared all the preparations for the romantic dinner. Yang Zizi looked at the romantic living room decorated by himself with satisfaction. The 2 hours were considered worthwhile. Nervous, too nervous, she kept rubbing her hands. Although he didn't know whether Bai Zhishu's idea would work, he was still determined to give it a try. In order to relieve the tension, she kept drinking for herself. Cup after cup. The cycle continues. Lun Zhenqi, who was still working in the office, suddenly felt something was wrong. He couldn't feel the smell of poplar seeds within 100 meters. A shadow disappeared in the office instantly. Yang Zizi came out of the bathroom and wore a suspender skirt, revealing her long white legs. Sure enough, in front of the person he likes, he is willing to try as long as it is the side he likes. Yang Zizi turned off all the lights and sat on the sofa waiting for Lun Zhenqi. She was very nervous and kept changing her sitting position, looking for the one she thought was the most and sultry one. Lun Zhenqi suddenly appeared quietly in the living room, his body glowing slightly, and in the blink of an eye, Lun Zhenqi appeared in front of her. Eye-to-eye contact at close range. Yang Zizi was stunned. How could he be so fast? You. Yang Zizi didn't know what he was going to do next. Yang Zizi reacted, stretched out his hand to hook Lun Zhenqi's neck charmingly, and lifted his chin with the other hand. Lun Zhenqi suddenly pushed her back onto the sofa. Don't play human tricks on me. Lun Zhenqi propped himself on the sofa with one hand, pinched Yang Zizi's chin with the other hand, raised his eyebrows slightly, and a red light flashed inexplicably in his eyes. Yang Zizi blinked inadvertently, and the prosperous world in front of him had disappeared. Yang Zizi looked around for Lun Zhenqi and finally found him in his room. He was sitting on the edge of the bed playing with his mobile phone. Yang Zizi smiled and walked gracefully to Lun Zhenqi's side, elegantly sitting on his lap. Lun Zhenqi changed his sitting position, and Yang Zizi fell to the ground smoothly. Yang Zizi recalled what Bai Zhishu said to him in his ear yesterday. Yang Zizi stretched out his white jade hands and launched a white lotus attack on Lun Zhenqi. Brother. Oh my god, she was about to throw up. I can't get up. This Bai Zhishu has almost no bottom line for any bad ideas she comes up with. Lun Zhenqi was indifferent, looked at him indifferently, and left the room. Yang Zizi continued to chase after him, trotting behind him, and was about to hug his waist. She fainted. In the middle of the night, Yang Zizi suddenly woke up from a nightmare and vaguely saw the shining Lun Zhenqi beside him. When Yang Zizi woke up the next day, he couldn't remember anything about last night. Woke up. The solemn voice interrupted Yang Zizi's thoughts. Seeing the prosperous Yang Zizi, his fatigue instantly dissipated and he laughed. Less than half a second, Lun Zhenqi and Yang Zizi were 3 millimeters apart, and Yang Zizi's smile froze for a few seconds. If what happened last night happens again, I will throw you out. Yang Zizi had no intention of listening to what he said, and just watched his mouth opening and closing, which was very charming. When Lun Zhenqi left the room, he realized what was happening and asked, did something happen last night? Don't remember, Lun Zhenqi asked with raised eyebrows. Sometimes, human beings are indeed a difficult creature to understand. Lun Zhenqi glanced at him and said, you will remember it soon. After the first class, Yang Zizi suddenly remembered what happened last night. He immediately wanted to imitate a mouse and drill a hole and get in himself. What kind of bad idea did Bai Zhishu come up with? Yang Zizi dialed Bai Zhixu's number. He was about to scold him, but found that his voice seemed wrong. Yang Zizi asked him what was wrong. It turned out that he was beaten by Lun Zhenqi, and it looked like he was injured. No, Yang Zizi just laughed at him. Since Lun Zhenqi took action, there was no need for her to take action again. End of this chapter.